Yo, what is good, everybody? It is Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. Back for part 3 of What If Deku had a fast learning quirk. Alright, well, basically what happened last episode, or last part, was we basically just finished up the quirk exam. Deku did really well in it, obviously, with his control of full cowling. And, well, now we're just leaving UA after the quirk exam. And as Deku's leaving UA to actually go home, Momo, not Uraraka, catches up to him and goes, Deku Midoriya, right? And Deku then explains that, no, it's actually Azuka Midoriya. And she's confused. She's like, but I heard that explosive blonde kid, Bakugo, call you that. And he goes, yeah, I mean, Kachan calls me that to make fun of me. And she's like, Kachan?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's a childhood name. Never mind, doesn't matter. And then she's like, well, I think that's pretty, I like the name Deku. It sounds like you can do it. So then Deku ends up saying, you know what, that's fine. You can call me that. I don't mind. And after like a brief talking, they exchange numbers, and she drives off in a limo. So then Deku obviously goes home for the night, and we'll just fast forward straight to the next day when they go to school. So at the start of class, All Might busts in the room going, I am here! You know, like how he always does. And he basically explains that they're going to be doing hero versus villain training. And they go over to where the hero versus villain training is, and it's huge. It's like a whole cityscape. Everyone's so astounded by it. And keep in mind, they all got their hero outfits, and Deku, I would say Deku has more of the same outfit that he had in canon, obviously, but I would say he probably loses the hoodie. I mean, it's my what if. I don't like the hoodie, the little hoodie thing he has. But yeah, I would say he loses the hoodie. I like the face mask. I think that's rocking. That's sick, especially that he has full cowling early. So then All Might does the same thing. You know, picks random names to put on teams, and first team A is Deku and Momo.
Yeah.
And Team D, which would be facing Deku and Momo, is Bakugo and Ida. So then Bakugo and Ida, being the villains, go up to protect the bomb, and Deku and Momo begin to strategize for the next 5 minutes on what they feel is the best strategy to go about this. So then basically what Deku does is, seeing that the building is more or less the same structure as most buildings around, he's able to map out the entirety of the building, see how many floors and how many rooms are within it, and take an estimated guess basically where he feels the bomb is, so that they don't have to just look everywhere. So he says that it's probably around the 3rd floor, in between like the 1st and 4th room.
Yeah.
And what Momo does says that she can just make something to scout the building's windows. So she makes a little drone and sends it up there, like a remote little drone, and scouts that the bomb is actually on the 3rd floor, the 2nd room. So it was a pretty good estimate by Azuku. So basically, then both of them, Momo and Deku, walk into the building. And then Kachan or Bakugo just charges at Deku, and Deku kind of just bobs out of the way just in time. And he tells Momo to like go get the bomb, go, like I'll fight Kachan. So as Momo's running up the stairs, Kachan's like, "You damn nerd! You think you can beat me one-on-one? Are you crazy? Do you have a death wish?"
Yeah.
And Deku responds with, "I'm not crazy, and I don't have a death wish, Kachan, but I am ready to fight." So Bakugo, just furious at this point, like he's super mad. He feels that Deku's still looking down on him. Like he's like, damn nerd, trying to look down on me, thinking that you're better than me. And but to Deku, it's like a heated fight between rivals. So then Bakugo charges in with his famous right hook that Deku knew was coming, grabs it, swings him over his shoulder, and slams him into the ground. But before he finishes up on that, instead of like in canon how he just kind of slammed it one time, no. Deku followed up with an armbar and set up an armbar on Kacchan, forcing him to try to retract his arm, allowing for Deku to sway under him and kick him in the stomach back at the wall. And then after that, Kacchan tried to charge right back at Deku as Deku slid underneath him and kicked him upwards. And then using full cowling at 15%, jumping off the walls, kicks him right back down into the ground. And then he's able to put the capture tape on Kacchan. And he's more or less out cold at this point. I mean, Deku, after years of martial arts training, it wouldn't be anything outlandish to say that through like sheer technique, Deku just outclasses him in terms of right now. So then he begins to run up the floors and catch up to Momo, but then stops one room short, and he decides that maybe if he can go out the window, climb behind the window by the bomb, and bust in from there, he can get the bomb. And that was a great idea that he came up with. And he busts out that window, right? Climbs to the side with full cowling activated, looks in the window and sees Momo fighting Ida with a bow staff. So he's able to slide open the window and touch the bomb without Ida even knowing. And all you hear is, "Hero Team wins!" And Ida, just completely shocked, he turns around and just sees Deku standing there with a hand on the bomb. And he's like, how'd you get there? And he's like, gotta look at your blind spots, am I right? And he kind of just laughs. And actually, in this scenario, Deku would get the MVP in terms of all those like planning and all the stuff he did, and how swiftly he took out Kacchan and not drawing out the fight and making sure that no excessive damage was done during that fight. And then obviously we see, I feel like all the other fights kind of go about the same. It's hard to say exactly how they would go, but I would say probably about the same. Then how about we just do this then? All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna fast forward to after that school day ends. And actually, Deku and Momo were walking out the school, and they see each other and they begin talking, and they're chatting it up, and Momo actually is like, "Oh, do you mind if we go get something to eat? Want to like hang out?" And then and her like, "Oh, like you don't have to if you don't want to, if it's like too much of your time." And Deku's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So then they head out. They go to a nice park, and basically like celebrating their win versus the quote unquote villains, obviously, right? Not actually villains, but celebrating their win and just hanging out. And they just begin talking, and she asks about Deku's quirk, and he goes, "Well, it's an enhancement quirk, but like it also has like tidbits of like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I can learn and react to things really fast." And she's kind of confused. She's like, "You mean you're just smart?" And he's like, No, that's not it. Like, I'm able to learn things at an extremely fast rate. And he's like, I don't mean like in terms of like trying to boast myself up or anything, but a lot of these, and then he explains to her that he knows like Muay Thai and karate, and judo, jiu-jitsu, all these martial arts. Explaining to her that he knows all of them, and he learned them within a year, and he's practically a master of them now. And she like completely shocked. She's like, "No, are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I've always been this way. I don't know. It's kind of, I guess the best way of explaining it is a combination of an enhancement quirk and an intelligence quirk, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. And obviously he doesn't want to spoil anything. He doesn't want to tell her like, oh yeah, I have 2 quirks and that's why. And then also he has the suspicion that he has many more, right? So that's beyond, like he doesn't want to say that's Momo because obviously All Might doesn't want that. So then he asks, what about you? Like, what is your quirk, Yaoyorozu? And she basically starts explaining like, basically I use the lipids in my body to create items or create anything.
Yeah.
As you can see during the Heroes versus Villains, I was able to make that drone. And he was saying, wow, like that's an awesome quirk. Like that is like so practical in like almost every situation. And he basically starts like obviously fanboying, just like how Deku always does. Starts fanboying over it, like, oh my god, like you can do this and like do that, and like you can be one of the greatest support heroes like ever. And she was like, oh, I mean, I hope so. I hope I can be one of the better heroes. And he's like, I know so. He's like, that's an amazing quirk. And they really hit it off, and then they eventually, obviously, they go home, and Momo takes her limo as Deku takes the train, the bus. So all right, then let's skip up to the very next day when they all meet up in class. And Mr. Aizawa walks in. He's like, alright guys, settle down. Listen, today we're going to be doing rescue training. Basically explaining how they're going to go on a bus ride to the USJ. And yeah, I mean, they're going to go learn how to rescue in various incidents. So then, basically on the bus ride, everyone was talking, and Froppy or Suyu was basically like, so who do you guys? I don't know how to fucking do her voice, bro. I don't know how to do her voice, but basically like, oh, like, so who do you guys think has the best quirk or is the strongest? And basically, a lot of people were saying that they feel like Deku probably is the strongest, and obviously Kachan or Bakugo is super mad about this. It's like explosions in his hands, and like he's like, that damn nerd always trying to one up me. So but obviously Deku's getting embarrassed. He's like, no, like there's so much better. Like, what about Todoroki's, and what about yours, Sue? Like, yours is, and she basically is like, oh, like whatever, like Todoroki's strong, and like she was explaining how like Bakugo is super strong, but I don't think he'll make a very good hero because he gets mad so easily. And he goes, what did you say? I will blast your face off. And then she's like, see? So and then throughout the ride, Deku and Yaoyorozu just begin talking about practical uses of like her quirk and his own, obviously, right? And then they're finally there at the USJ, and Aizawa brings them all in, and they just walk in, and they're like, Aizawa's like, all right, 13, you take it away. I feel like at this point, like Aizawa is either like, is it just me, or like I feel like Aizawa's pretty high like all the time. Let's be honest. Come on. Okay, I'll stop. So basically, 13 begins to explain like how this works and what's the USJ, and then Deku begins to get a really weird feeling. Like there's like, after looking at the USJ, he was able to analyze like everything that's in it, more or less, and he sees like a weird disturbance like ruffling down at the bottom of the staircase, or like back toward the middle where the fountain is, and he kind of shoves over to Aizawa and like yanks on him and goes, hey Aizawa, like I'm not feeling too good about this. Like over there, like some disturbance is happening. And Aizawa's super confused, He's like, what are you talking about? And then this huge portal opens up. This huge black portal opens up. And tons of villains just start pouring out of it. And everyone's like, what the heck? So Aizawa straps on his goggles, ready to go. Jumps out into action and goes, 13, take care of the students. Get them out of here. And 13 tries to leave, but Kurogiri obviously stops her, just like usual. And they're trying to get a hold of anybody, but they obviously are blocking communications. And then, just like usual, Kirishima and Bakugo charge at her, or charge at Kurogiri, and go right through him. Kurogiri sent everybody away, just like in canon. And then Deku's just sitting in the water like, what the heck what just happened? Like, I don't even and then Froppy or Sue grabs him and throws him onto the boat. And it's him, Mineta, and Sue. And they're just astounded. They're so confused then. And then they look in the water and they see a bunch of villains that have a bunch of like water-based quirks. And they're like thinking that these villains had to have had a plan coming into this. There's no way, and by the way, Deku's thinking this right now. He's like, there's no way they would have just came in here blindly. But you could only plan so much. And the Sue was like, what are you talking about, Deku? And he goes, why would they send you to a water area? You basically thrive in this environment.
Yeah.
And he has like a brain blast and goes, they don't know our quirks. They don't know them. And she goes, how's it supposed to help us now? And he's like, well, we can get off this boat really easily then, since they don't know our quirks. And then she realized what he's hinting at, and he, just like in canon, he jumps out and he goes, Delaware, smash! And crashes into the water, and it basically makes this huge vortex. And then Mineta and Sue basically grab Izuku, and Mineta just starts throwing his sticky balls into the water, catching all the villains like some big net, right? And they get there, and they just see and then they get there a little quicker than canon, but they just see Aizawa finishing up and see this big, okay, bro, don't take this wrong, this big black creature. It's huge, with its brain all exposed, and it looks like it could have been a person, and Deku begins explaining, like, that guy right there with the hands on his face, he obviously has a quirk that has to do with his hands, and he basically explains how that may sound simple, but I have a feeling that if he touches us, our bodies might decay. And obviously he is correct, and he's pretty good at this analysis stuff pre-fight. And he looks at the Nomu and he goes, that thing? I don't know. He's like, that thing doesn't look real. And he basically sees Aizawa just get tossed by the Nomu, and freaking Aizawa's hurting, his arms like half decayed, and it doesn't look like he can hold up much longer. And in the meantime, Tenya Ida is running, trying to get support for the young heroes, and Deku just looks over there and thinks, oh my god, Aizawa's gonna die. He's gonna die. And he just charges over there with 30%, and yes, 30%. So this is basically like putting a strain on his body. It's not like breaking it, but 30%, right? 30%, and smashes his hand into the Nomu.
Yeah.
But nothing happens. He then dodges back, grabs Aizawa, and just jumps out as quick as possible. And he tries to think of a plan. And he thinks of something, but it's gonna be risky. And then out of nowhere, All Might busts in. I am here. And Deku looks at him and goes, oh my god, thank god. Like, and and then looks over, and the Nomu's right in front of him and punches him right in the face, and he goes flying backwards and crashes into the wall. And then he's kind of like delirious at this point, just like wavering up and down. He's like, what just happened? He's like, oh my. And he's looking and he sees All Might fighting the Nobu, but All Might looks like he's struggling. And Deku's like, I have to help All Might. I have to. And he just feels this like surge of power in him. And these black rope looking things start coming out of his arms and his hands, and he's like, what is. And he just like sees these like dots, but he's not sure they're like light, and it's like dots with light, and it's like he stares closer and he can see people. And he's thinking, and he's like, are these the past successors of One for All? And he just basically, like a man possessed, just wakes up with these like black ropes in his hands, and he goes, I know what I have to do. He's like, this is gonna hurt, but I have to try. And he runs at the Nomu going, Detroit Backlash Smash! Just doing a full front flip and smashing the black rope like weapons into the Nomu's head, completely slicing him in half and obliterating him, knocking him out completely cold. And frankly, I mean, I don't know if the Nomu's even alive at this point, but if he was alive, he's dead. He's a dead Nomu. And at this point, All Might's like, oh my god, this kid. And he looks at Deku, and he's just out of commission. Like, he's out cold. He's like, this kid's amazing. What was that? And then right when Shigaraki and Kurogiri were about to attack All Might, knowing that he was winded and hurt, a shot goes through his arm. The reinforcements are here. Oh, and a sigh of relief comes from All Might, and Deku's just on the ground, out cold. And that is it for this episode of What If Deku Had a Fast Learning Quirk. If you enjoyed, please hit that like and subscribe, and leave any suggestions in the comment section below on whatever, either what if you want me to do after this, or you never know, during it, depending on how much time we got. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.